Hey guys, welcome back to Final Sector. Today we're looking at the Spanish Grand Prix. This is a track that is pretty well known for a lot of teams bringing their first major upgrades, as we'll talk about in a bit. A lot of teams bringing updates. Yeah, I think it's going to be a real intriguing one. The fact that we had our very first testing session here. Teams have had a very good look in with these new cars at the new track. So it'll be, I think, yeah, very, very intriguing. It's supposed to swing back Ferrari's direction, so maybe we'll have that the title battle back in our hands again. But
that seems to be the vibe, yes.
Before we get into everything, I just wanted to say, if you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Recommend us to your friends as well. We just want to have a nice little community, nice little conversation. That's part of the reason why we got into this. We just love talking about it. So, but yeah, if you have any thoughts, you have any predictions as well for the Spanish Grand Prix or for this season, leave them in the comments. We love reading them, love responding. So, and if you're listening on Spotify, then just tweet at our Twitter at Final Sector YT. I always forget that. I always have to think about it. But yeah, just tweet us there. Tweet us your predictions. Yep. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching and listening. But yeah, let's get into it. Couple of little bits of news. We've got Nick De Vries in for Alex Albon in the Williams. A lot of people, like I think we mentioned in the podcast, or you brought it up. De Vries was apparently replacing Latifi because he was getting a seat fit at Williams. Well, it turns out it was just getting FP1 at Spain. So
mystery solved. We've done it.
We did it. So that's great for him. He's obviously, I think he's technically Mercedes reserve. So
he was a Mercedes Junior, yeah.
Yes,
but then when he won the title, and then he kind of moved off onto other things rather than F1.
He has been tied to that Williams seat for the last sort of 6 months, I would say, maybe a little longer. So, yeah, maybe.
Or even in the discussion for who was going to get the drive initially, he was in that chat as well. So
yeah, Eduardo Freitas, who is our second race director, he finally gets his first race in F1. It's the first chance he's gotten. So I don't know how much is going to change. I know there's, again, talked about on the podcast. By the way, go listen to that. It's on Spotify, coming out on... it'll actually be out on YouTube by the time this one releases as well. So, yeah, go check that one out. We talk about a lot of this stuff, but the rules crack down. What's his face? Niels Wittich, I think it is. That's his name. He's apparently supposed to be really strict, just in general. Like before even coming in, he's been known to be like a really, strong arm kind of director.
Proper hands-on, getting through the
I'm very curious to see if Freitas is going to have that same approach, or if it's going to be a little more lax this weekend, or maybe we may notice nothing. Probably more the latter, but
yes.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously being Barcelona, it's Sainz and Alonso's home races. Really, I guess it's Sainz's first genuine chance at getting a home race win, right? Because he's in one of the fastest cars. He has pace I was going to say he's doing okay. He is.
The potential is there, right?
Yes, definitely a potential. So, yeah, I think he'll have a lot of support this weekend, I imagine. So, but yeah, I mean, the biggest talking point for this weekend is the updates. So many articles coming out with teams talking about that. We're bringing updates. Everyone's bringing updates. Except for one team who has come out and said they're not bringing updates for the next 4 to 5 races, and that's Haas. They have a big upgrade planned for, they said 4 to 5 races. They didn't specify which one, but Gunther Steiner came out and says they still believe they have performance to unlock in their current car before attaching all the new parts, but they do have that big upgrade planned. So they're going
to take their time a bit.
Yeah, that's it. Well, they haven't had any major upgrades at all this season, so the fact that they're waiting almost until literally halfway through the season to really bring their first major package seems a little strange.
There's a lot of variables at play, right? There's things like cost. There's maybe where they're doing a significant update. There's maybe where they tested a few things and they saw it wasn't working, so they didn't want to keep testing it, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but when everyone's bringing them and they're the only one that's not, then it's a little bit like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that their major upgrade package is quite major, where it's like they're just bringing they're going to do it in like one big chunk. Like they're just
the B-spec car.
Yeah.
The legendary B-spec.
Yeah. Just comes with a new car and it's just completely different. But I mean, it's possible. It kind of makes sense that maybe they want to understand their car a little bit better before they just go throwing all these parts on, which I guess kind of makes sense. They've already outdone their expectations given last year, so they're already a lot further up. So maybe they just they want to understand their car a little bit better, which I guess makes sense. But it'll be curious to see if them not bringing anything will hinder them this weekend. So
it depends how much of a gap they still think they have to unlock. If they think, hey, upgrades isn't actually, we could either upgrade or we could spend a bit more time just focusing and extracting more performance out of the car, then maybe they say we can still keep up with that, and then we're not actually having to spend through this upgrade cycle. And if we can keep up with everyone, within the second cycle, we can spend double on it when everyone's only going to have half their spend, right? So it could be a bit of that as well.
Yep, that's true.
Could be a bit of that at play. But we'll know once we get to, I guess, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we see where they end up and what they're saying. If they're, all over the shop, it's like, oh, you should have done it.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go through a few of the teams who have at least come out and said that they're bringing updates and what they're bringing if they've mentioned it. Ferrari have set to bring their first major upgrade package. Again, I believe we talked about it either in the Miami race breakdown or the podcast. But they're set to bring a new floor, which is going to hopefully reduce their porpoising by allows them to run their car lower. They're predicting it'll give them a couple of tenths. I'm guessing from their simulations it should give them 2 to 3 tenths, which is how much they said they were down at Miami. So that could be fun.
They've calculated it exactly to get the same lap time.
We were 0.253 seconds down, and we found 0.254 in this upgrade. Oh, we're back in it, boys. But yeah, I mean, apparently they're still chasing some answers as to why their low speed advantage was kind of diminished at Miami, despite the fact that they were running high downforce wings and Red Bull weren't, but Red Bull could still be faster through those low speed sections. So I think Mattia Binotto came out and said he believes it was just due to the fact that Red Bull brought so many new parts that they've just unlocked that performance with those. So if that's the case and that level of development can give you that much in such a short period of time, then Ferrari have a very good, that potential to come right back with their major upgrade as well. So very, very intriguing to see if they can close that gap again.
I do like how, I think we talked about it a little bit as well, but I still like how even through the past, there's been more and more mumblings of kind of Ferrari going, if this isn't a big enough step, or if Red Bull also do a massive step here, then they're like, how are they doing this? More and more teams seem to be going, how are Red Bull extracting so much when they're supposed to have so little budget? I feel like this is going to be a trend going forward, even into the future with the new engines, and suddenly Red Bull's going to be spending all this money. Everyone's like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, as it turns out, again, it was something I mentioned in one of the previous recordings that we did, is that it was actually Mattia Binotto that came out and said, I don't know how they're doing it. Like even like the Ferrari team boss is like, I'm not sure about that.
Yes.
I read
Start the conspiracy theories.
Outside of Ferrari, McLaren have said they're bringing updates. They didn't say what parts, but McLaren definitely need to find a little bit more to get to the back to the front of the midfield, which they haven't really been at since. Well, I guess they were at Australia, but haven't really been there since last year. So,
well, they were basically at the front of everyone during testing here. So, look, if they had a good test and they got a lot of data there, and they're bringing updates here, well, then they already have a good baseline to know if their updates are working or not, because they had a good test here. And then hopefully that translates to a good race, right? I mean, they had pretty unlucky Miami Grand Prix, both drivers. So, hey, if they're going to really kickstart their career here, their season here, seems like a good place to do it, I think.
Coming back as McLaren 2.
Yeah. Yes.
Outside of McLaren, we've got Alpine set to bring a new rear wing, and apparently focusing on some weight saving as well. That's another common theme, is teams are still working on bringing that weight limit down. Sometimes saying they can even save, a couple of tenths, a few tenths, just by saving just a small amount, like a couple of, a couple of kilos or whatever. So kind of insane. Alpha are bringing an upgrade package, which includes floor-related parts, plus potentially other things as well. They were pretty vague. Aston's set for their first significant upgrade as well, which again, team that really needs it. It's spearheaded with the new floor to help with porpoising, similar to Ferrari. Again, they're very similar to Ferrari in the sense that they've had to really jack their ride height because they get really bad porpoising. So if this new floor helps them run a little bit lower and not get that porpoising, then that'll bring them back into contention. There's a rumor that they might be going away from their side pod design. So it might be the first team to actually, during the season, to go away from something. There was obviously talks that Mercedes might ditch their no pod because they're
which
like,
were the obvious one, right? But they've been adamant they're trying to stick with it.
Yep. But there's a rumor that Aston might be redesigning away from their wide pods. So we'll see if that's the case. It'd be pretty obvious to see come Friday. So and then apparently there's a potential for some suspension related changes. I'm not sure if you recall, but both drivers were talking about how they just don't have any feel through the steering. They can't really trust the car. So supposedly they might be bringing, maybe not this race, but they're looking at some suspension related upgrades to give them a bit more feel and a bit more trust in the car as well. So outside of that, Red Bull have just said they're exploring weight saving options. They didn't mention Spain or anything, but again, another team just trying to bring weight limit down. So a lot of upgrades. I'm not sure how much we'll see it swing. I do hope that we'll see a lot of driving in practice. I guess with all the upgrades the teams are bringing in, I'm hoping that translates to more track time in FP1, 2, and 3. So, but yeah, that's all I've got. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add.
Do you reckon we'll get another? I'm trying to think if we want to try to guess what we think the most almost significant. Do we think we'll have a significant upgrade where we see something and you go, "Whoa, that almost looks like that chunk of the car is almost new or different," or do you think it would generally be an evolution type thing, right?
Yeah, you mean just in general, or do you mean for this weekend?
Basically for this weekend, if some teams are saying they're bringing a big package, and sometimes in the past where they've almost entirely redesigned the front wing or the rear wing, right? I guess rear wing kind of changes anyway, race to race. Front wing kind of stays similar-ish. So,
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's hard to gauge the likelihood that maybe, as you say, almost all the teams count with a concept, and they're. Maybe it's just driven because Mercedes have always been the most vocal in saying we don't want to change our concept, and you don't really hear any other teams talk about it. So you presume they're not going to change their side pod concept. But I'm wondering what's the chance maybe that a team will start to show something they're thinking of going a different way, or because it's a hard thing to do, right? Because if a team like you're saying, even Aston does want to change it, they kind of have to do it as a whole, as a package, because you can't really change one bit and then the rest of it. I think that was the problem Mercedes had very early on, was they realized there was a few other areas of the car they still had to sort out because it wasn't all talking to each other. Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
that's to think about.
That's the biggest thing, because Aston's obviously set to bring that new floor. It wouldn't make sense to bring a new floor unless it's one that works with their new side pod design, because obviously all that aerodynamic, obviously, like you said, has to all work together. So a floor that would work with their wide pod design, chances are it wouldn't work with whatever redesign that they were thinking of moving towards. So I would say those rumors, I would say possibly if they are going to do it, I would say it's going to be after Spain. I already think it's too late in the season, unless they're writing off the season, or unless they just want to try and come back for the back end of the season. But I think it's already too late in the season to make such a drastic change. I would think, but maybe I'm
unless,
wrong.
As you say, you make it a glorified test session for next year, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with Aston, is they're already so far behind this season. They started so far back that, they're one of the teams that absolutely could do it and kind of get away with it, because we got nothing to lose. If we think this is the direction we should be going in for the future, for future years, then maybe we can do it now. But I think for a lot of teams, it's probably a bit too late. But
yes,
it's a good thing to think about. I guess we'll find out. But this is the first I'm hearing that outside of Mercedes, the
Yeah,
drastic
yeah.
redesigns mid-season. Most of it just happened during testing. So let's move on to predictions.
Yes,
Let's go to our current scores, in which Kyle, you had a fantastic Miami prediction week.
Woohoo!
So you got 2 from 2.
Yay!
So yeah, well done. I got 0 from 2. We don't need to talk about that. Moving along, take the
You were
scores off the screen.
technically
Do
so
it.
close, to be
Yeah,
fair.
well, I tried. Had the right idea, and then I botched it with the actual thing that matters.
No,
It's
the
fine.
team botched it. You didn't botch it. You were the clever cookie. It's the teams and the drivers that
right.
let you down. I'm writing an angry letter to Ferrari HQ at Maranello.
Let's move on to Spain, though. Who do we think is going to get pole?
I didn't think about it. Well, I thought about whether I wanted to think about this a lot, and then I kind of went, I feel like because we have a fair amount of information here because of testing, and there's a bit more kind of track characteristics that help the boys in red, I'm kind of pretty comfortable being all in on red for quali, so I'm going red. I guess the question you say is, which red do you go to?
Bottas.
Part of it is... yes. Guan Yu Zhao, let's go.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're talking about Alpha, right? That's what I was talking about.
Question is, do we think Sainz is going to use all that energy to pull it together and smash it out? Do I think he's the kind of driver that maybe with that extra pressure might actually let it get too much to him, and because of where he's at this season, maybe he's going to try to extra push that bit hard rather than just let it naturally come out? I think he won't have a disaster at quali like he has in the recent times, but I feel like Charles might just be I feel like he's just going to be quite at home here. So, quali, Charles... Similar reasons that I gave, I think, last week in terms of, again, that Ferrari just seems to on quality day just be nailed down. They can get it together, while I guess their big competitors, the Red Bull and especially Max, seems to, struggle to get that final lap together unless there's other factors at play.
Yeah.
So I'm going Charles for those confusing, twisted reasons.
No, that's fine. I tend to agree. I'm also going to go Charles. Again, I know, boring. Get off the stage.
Yeah.
Dislike. I just, honestly, given how strong they were, in preseason testing as well, they were just, from the first day, the first session of testing, they were just so dominant. And Charles was just on it so much more than any other driver from... day one, while other drivers were still getting used to their cars, he was throwing it into corners apparently. So
as a car that he had to drive entirely different from previous cars too, and yet he just found it at home there. So a lot of that has to come down to the track. There would have been other tracks if we tried that, would have been a lot harder.
Definitely,
totally agree.
And again, same reasons. I again talked about it. I think a little on the podcast. I do think this track will swing in Ferrari's favor, just because of just the way it's designed. Because of that, I have gone with Charles for pole position. So, race winner, however, I have gone with someone different.
Good on ya.
I went, and I have literally no intelligent logistical basis for this, but I've gone with
pure hopium.
Yes, I've gone with Carlos.
Nice, good on ya.
Carlos, he's gonna win it. He's gonna do it in front of his home crowd.
In front of that sold out crowd, indeed.
The only scenario I had in my head was like a Rosberg Hamilton moment.
2016.
Yeah. And then
I've
Carlos
heard everyone talking about that.
Yay.
I've actually heard 2 or 3 different parties go, but what if they have a 2016 and then Carlos gets it? The amount of people that have predicted it, I'm like, actually, this is going to happen now.
See? But yeah, I'd love to see Carlos win it. I think he's had a rough start to the season. He has genuine pace in that car when he's at his best. I think he's much stronger than, let's just say in comparisons, like Perez versus Verstappen in that car. I think he's much closer to Charles than Perez is to
totally agree.
Verstappen.
We've seen when they're both actually got it together in quali how actually close their laps are, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I think. I hope that Carlos wins it. I really just want that. I think it would be fantastic for his confidence. I think it'd be fantastic for the sport, and I think it'd be great for Ferrari as well, and to bring them back into contention with Red Bull as well, who seem to have, like I said, they've seemed to have gained the upper hand the last couple of races, but I do think it'll swing Ferrari's way. So,
yes.
Yeah, who have you gone with, though?
No, I've similarly gone down the Ferrari train for similar reasons we've said. I know last weekend I kind of went on about, but in the race, Red Bull seemed to pull it together, but I still think this does feel like it's a bit of a sore point in Red Bull's thumb. They're not exactly kind of designed for a place here. Yes, this track is a bit hard to overtake normally, and we had an okay race last year, but that was more just down to some nice strategy options. I guess I've heard word that it's going to be super hot, so normally that means a lot of degradation here, so there's still going to be some strategy at play, but I think even if we have like a 2 or 3, even 3 stop as the default, right, I feel like that leans more into the hands of the Ferrari, which we're potentially seen in those conditions, has a bit more wear in that, so I guess we're thinking their weaknesses they've had in the past few races kind of aren't there, and again, they just feel so comfortable here. So I have gone with Ferrari, but I've gone the safe pick, and I've gone with Leclerc instead of Sainz.
Boo!
Because I knew you were going to pick him.
Yeah.
No. I think... I guess if you're asking me to pick, do I think it's going to be a 1-2? That's tricky. I'm thinking about it. I'm not initially going, oh, no, I don't think that's possible. No, I'm
Kyle.exe stopped
I know,
working,
I'm just I haven't... I don't know. I'd have to flip a coin on it. I think it could go either way. I don't think if Ferrari kind of waltz out there and they're quite comfortably out there 1-2, I think I wouldn't be surprised by it. But then if I think it's still Leclerc and... I can't see what you're holding.
I've got a coin.
Oh,
It's a 10-cent coin.
I can actually see your head.
All right, we got Max on one side, Carlos on the other. We got...
we'll say go for it. Max will be heads.
Max will be heads? All right.
Yeah.
It's Max.
Okay.
That's boring.
So I think it'll be the 2 waltzing a bit ahead. I think Sainz will be sniffing there and Perez will be struggling behind a bit. Beautiful. Outside of any kind of issues in that. Interesting thought, I guess, is as we said on... I think some people interestingly said, but do you think this is one of the most likely tracks we've had so far where an outsider could get a podium, right? Someone like a Bottas or someone like an Alpine or someone like a McLaren. Because all 3 of those teams seem pretty strong in testing, especially McLaren, as we said, especially if they're bringing upgrades and especially where you can have kind of a bit of chaos here. Especially if it's high wear and heat we've already seen has been a bit of an issue. So not that I want to. I guess I just wanted to bring it up just to think about in general.
No, it's a good point. Yeah. Good point.
So I think that's what might give us an interesting race, where I think that 3rd position might be interesting. But I do think, Charles might fairly comfortably have it. But I would still love to see him not comfortably have it. And I'll say as well, if Sainz is ahead and Charles is behind him, there's no way that they're going to pull a team orders card. For anyone that thinks they will, it's way too early in the season.
Yeah.
That would be almost seen worse than the Austria of Schumacher and Barrichello, right? You remember the fallout from that?
Yeah.
Yes,
you
exactly.
Can't do that.
Yes.
Not again.
For his first potential win, yes. Yeah. So anyone that's thinking it, you are valid to think it, but if it happens,
you're also wrong.
I don't know. Yes, I will. I don't know. Do something stupid. I don't know. Bite a shoe or I don't know, something like that.
Here
right?
we go. Bite a shoe.
Go on Reddit and go, if this happens, everyone screenshot or do this thing.
But yeah, let us know your predictions in the comments, or if you're listening on Spotify, like I said, tweet us at FinalSectorYT. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, no, that's it from us. Enjoy the race weekend. I know we will. Hopefully it's not a traditional Spain Grand Prix. There's thoughts, obviously, with these new cars that it'll be a bit closer racing, so hopefully we can see a Spanish Grand Prix that has a bit of overtaking, has a bit of racing, that's a little bit more exciting than previous years.
And a bit of strategy too would be good.
Yeah, would be very, very nice. But enjoy, guys, and we'll see you for the race breakdown. Take care.
Catch ya!